Hi everyone! This week's Torah portion is Parshas Eikev, in which we read the second paragraph of the Shema prayer. It begins by saying, V'haya im shamo v'tishmeu al mitzvosai. If you will listen and you will hear my commandments. What's up with the double lashon, the double language of shamo v'tishmeu? I understand that in English there's a nuanced difference between listening and hearing, one that we love to point out to our husbands and our kids, but in Hebrew it's the same word. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs has a beautiful idea on this that I would love to share with you. He explains that the word Shema comes up 92 times in the book of Deuteronomy, which is the book that this Parsha can be found in. And this concept of Shema, of listening, is really very important in Judaism. In the English language, the majority of our metaphors for knowledge are based on the concept of sight. So if somebody explains something to you and it takes you a little while to figure it out, like that happens to me a lot, you might at the end say, oh, I see. Or in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have worn such high heels for an event where I was going to do so much standing. Or wasn't it good that we had the foresight to be able to buy the property before the prices went up? It's all based on vision. But in Judaism, and the Talmud in specific, so many of our metaphors for knowledge are based on hearing. So in the Talmud, when they want to bring a proof, it says, Tashma, come here. And when there's a conclusion that's drawn, it says, Mashma, from this we can hear. In fact, national revelation, which is what we base our knowledge of God on, is the idea that all the Jews, millions of them, stood at the base of Har Sinai and they heard God's voice. God can't be seen, but he can definitely be heard. And then we're told, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Listen, Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. And then we're told, V'haya im shamo v'tishmeu. If you will listen and you will hear. So yeah, Shema, shamo v'tishmeu, listen, hear, yeah, I get it. But do I? How many times have I had conflict in my life because I haven't really listened to what somebody was saying to me? How many times have I missed the point because I haven't really heard what somebody wanted me to hear? Stephen Covey explains in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that most people listen in order to be able to respond, not to understand. Rabbi Sachs explains that when God created humanity, he created otherness. And the way to bridge the gap between self and the other is through conversation. One of the key components of conversation is listening. Of course, there needs to be somebody who's speaking, but there needs to be somebody who's really listening on the other end. If I can't learn how to listen to other people, how can I ever learn how to listen to God? One of the lessons that we could take from last week's Parshas V'eschanan, was that God hears every single prayer. The answer to them sometimes is no, and that's a different conversation for another time. But he hears everything that we say to him. And in this week's Parsha, one of the lessons that we need to learn is that we need to listen to him. We need to listen by studying the Torah and trying to hear what he says, like literally says in that. But also, we need to work on tuning into the God frequency and hearing him in our lives. There is no such thing as dumb luck, coincidence, or things that just happen to fall into place. That's God trying to communicate with you. If you're actually hearing voices in the back of your head that say that they're God, okay, that might be cause for concern. But otherwise, are we listening to the communications that are coming through from him? If we work on really learning to listen to the people in our lives, listening to understand, not just to respond, listening with a real genuine interest, which isn't necessarily going to lead to agreement. That's not the goal. The goal is understanding. It's going to improve all our relationships. We'll be better spouses, better parents, better children, better siblings, better friends, better bosses, employees, colleagues. It's all going to improve. And if we work on listening to God, that relationship is going to improve too. And when that relationship improves, it's a game changer because being connected to our source, it's everything. I'm not saying that it all of a sudden makes life like lollipops and puppy dogs and everything is easy schmeezy. No. But it gives context and it gives perspective that is worth the world. In the true spirit of listening, I would love to hear what your thoughts on this topic are, or what you thought of this video or any of the other videos I've ever done. So do me a favor, leave a comment below and have yourself a really beautiful Shabbos.